Joanne Hayes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Tertiary Education. How is the government investing in more collaborative and innovative research?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, this morning I announced the funding of 4 more centres of research excellence over the next 5 years, increasing the number of cross-institutional centres of research excellence around the country from 6 to 10. All 10 will receive 5 years of funding from 2016 to 2020. Of the 10 that will be funded, 5 are existing cores and 5 will be receiving cores funding for the first time. They provide an excellent collaborative environment for the delivery of world-leading, innovative and strategically focused research. The work of all 10 cores will deliver benefits to New Zealand across a range of areas and make a difference to the lives of New Zealanders.
Supplementary question, Joanne Hayes.
What areas of research do these additional centres cover?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
16 applications were presented for the 4 available centres. 3 of the 4 cores selected were previous cores who weren't successful in the first funding round last year. The successful ones are the Bioprotection Research Centre at Lincoln University, the Riddett Institute at Massey University for Food Science and Human Health, the new Quake Core, which is a Centre for Earthquake Resilience at the University of Canterbury, and a revamped Māori Research Core, Ngā Pai ao Maramatanga, based at the University of Auckland, which stood out for the quality and coverage of its research program. Get us up. Shh. To accommodate these additional cores, the cores fund increases by $14.94 million from the existing $34.8 million to $49.8 million from 2016-2017. And don't the Labor Party hate the fact that this government is investing in science and research?
Mr Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Joanne Hayes.
And we're all going to love this one. What other research is undertaken by cores?
Well, Mr.
Honourable
Speaker,
Stephen Joyce.
the cores support the growth and research excellence through the increase in quantity and quality of research and contribute to New Zealand's development. Other cores include the Dodds Walls Centre for Photonic and Quantum Technologies, based at Otago University, the Brain Research New Zealand Institute, also based at Otago, Medical Technologies, the existing Maurice Wilkins and McDiarmid Institutes, and the new Centre for Complex Systems and Networks, which works to develop the methods and tools for transforming data into knowledge. With the increased funding for additional cores, the government's total science investment will be over $1.5 billion in 2015-16. That's an increase of more than 70% since 2007-2008.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Te Urarawa Flavel.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, how has the Māori Party budget gain for 2014 of $12.45 million over 3 years contributed to maintaining the depth and calibre of Māori research capability within the tertiary sector?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge the Māori Party's strong advocacy for a dedicated Māori Centre of Research Excellence, which has resulted in a process for a... Shh, Grant,
Order.
you just...
Order.
Isn't it hilarious? Mr Robertson, Mr Fiscal Conservative, who once again has never found a bit of expenditure that shouldn't be ever changed, despite the fact that he tries to hassle Bill English for not balancing the budget, Mr Speaker. That's the sort of... I should be able to continue on. He won't stop. Why should I, Mr Speaker?
Order. The answer's complete.
Point of order. Point of order. Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable Te Urarawa Flavel.
Mr Speaker, the Minister did start and I didn't quite hear the rest of the answer.
Order.
No?
Order. I'm concluding that the answer, the question was addressed.
Okay.
Maybe not very satisfactorily, but we're leaving it at that. Question.
Supplementary.
Further supplementary question, the Honourable Te Urarawa Flavel.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Since the successful lobbying by the Māori Party to ensure the continuation of high-quality Māori research, what steps has the Minister taken since 2014 to ensure the maintenance of Māori research into the future?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, a range of initiatives actually, and again I'd like to acknowledge the Māori Party's advocacy in this area. The new strengthened Ngā Pai will be a institute which delivers... I don't know, Grant, it's just one of those things
Order,
you just have to let go.
Order, the Minister just complete the answer.
Well, Mr Speaker, The new strengthened Ngā will focus on the Māori economy, environment and human flourishing, which I think is very important. We've also got a range of other areas that we're investing in, including the new Vision Mātauranga Science Fund, which is investing significantly in the Māori communities, Māori Innovation Fund and the Māori ICT Innovation Fund. So it's great to see the opportunity to invest in science and research in the Māori research community.
Question number 8, Sue Moroney.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister